Alright, g'day and welcome back to Terra Invicta. I'm pretty much rolling straight into the second recording while I have a moment. I've been able to do some quick renaming based on initial reactions to the first video. Thanks for your response to the first video, by the way. But I'm also leaving some renaming spots open to give more people time to watch the video and respond. So we have 3 renames happening. Our judge has become Shira Calpurnia, for the 40k fans out there. Our operative has become V for Valence, although at age 60, potentially a candidate for replacement at some point. Toby renamed is in the queue, our journalist, waiting for a rename. I was going to change him over, that didn't, but I'd already lost his previous customization, so he has a new placeholder title. And then Marilee Vermain is now our tycoon, who has become markedly more useful in the turn or two I played before I jumped back into the episode, because Marilee didn't come with a huge range of missions. What she came with was a whole bunch of money and administration skill, and I've used that to add a couple of companies. The first is Aquarius Spacecraft, which gives 1.75 boost. The second is Goldstone Aviation, which gives 0.75 boost. So we've jumped our boost from being less than 1 a couple of weeks back to 6 now. So we were behind. Hopefully this will help us catch up as we research Mission to the Moon. I've also given her a small organization called Zulfikar Strategic Communications, which critically gives her public campaign. So when she has nothing else to do, she can still go increase our popularity in countries. And she's got enough bonuses that even though she's only Persuasion 4, she should still make an impact. What else is happening that we need to flag? There was an alien crash down here in Brazil, but we don't have any ops to go investigate it, and I haven't drawn any organizations that give ops income yet. So I'm rather desperately doing 1 round of operations research to get us just a small number of ops points, but we really need to get a secure, stable ops income, which we can only do through orgs or councillors. So I'm keeping an eye on the recruitment pool, because eventually what we really need to do at some point is replace V with another command character, preferably one with a, if possible, one with an ops income, maybe fast learner, some sort of bonus. There are some out there, but nothing that immediately sort of takes my attention. In terms of priorities this episode, we want to keep this moving. This is going to be, if episode 1 was the mad scramble, episode 2 is 2 things. It's the consolidation of the starting position, so it's our European consolidation, and it's our first run into space, so the moon and probably beyond. From that point, we'll start to pivot more from Earth being important to space being important, but we're really in the second phase of the Earth setup right now. So I'm going to stabilize my holdings, basically. I've put defend interests on everything, and the next big priority is going to be integrating Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands. We'll probably be able to integrate Poland this episode, I imagine, once they've finished their mission control. And Germany has a lot of mission control to build, but it's also got a lot of investment points. So Germany is also promising. We'll fix the socioeconomic stuff once we've started to merge these European countries together. It's just more efficient to build the MC first and then fix the internals later on, so to speak. So I think that's it for the moment. I'll get into it.
Still the
okay, mission to the moon. Oh, nice little button here. Straight allows us to launch the probe directly.
German Soren van Wijk leaked private correspondence.
Oh, Soren's taking the president golfing. Okay. Alright, let's launch a probe to the moon. This is new. The number of habitat mining modules we can support without paying a mission control cost increases by 3. So as I understand it, it's not just now flat MC allowance, it's this number here. How many mines you can operate without a ramping MC cost is now tied to technology. I'm not sure if anything else boosts it, but this means we can now operate 3 mines anywhere without paying extra MC, and beyond that we're going to have to pay an MC tax. I'm not sure how quickly this will ramp up, which is why I'm building MC at like psychopathically fast rates, basically maximally as fast as possible, and I'm starting in an area where it was commented that, hey, maybe it would be thematic if if we had started in, say, yep, cool, we've launched a probe, if we'd launched in, say, the Middle East, or played somewhere unfamiliar, but with a patch that I'm not familiar with, knowing that it's going to be MC hungry, I knew that I'll play in the new fancy redone Europe. If I was comfortable with the patch, I think a Middle East Africa, like an Africa only style playthrough could be interesting. Just with this, I think you could do it, but you'd be very reliant on a couple of the wealthier states in the region to make it work. As it is though, let's go into technology. I'm trying to control 2 slots now, but it looks like everyone else is fighting me on that one. What do we need next? Oh, we need everything next. I'm considering going straight mission to Mars. To do that, we'd also want nuclear fission in space. The question is anyone else going to grab fission in space? The problem is you want everything early on, right? You want everything early on. I want to rival economics. I want to rival international relations. I want to rival sociology. I want basically everything here. That said, I think in terms of timing, I'm comfortable with this because I'm researching high-speed probes. We then need to get the probes constructed. I think I'm happy with that. Space mining and refining will be done in October 2023. Mars will be finished in March 2024. We'll be on the moon. So we'll be on the moon constructing mines in the latter part of 2023 in time for a probe to arrive in mid-late 2024, which means we should be able to bootstrap to Mars. I'd be hoping to bootstrap to Mars by the middle of the 2020s, which I don't think is bad. Considering it is 2023, humanity mining resources from Mars in the mid-2020s seems like it'd be a pretty decent achievement under current conditions. So right, I think that's the initial plan. Oh yeah, and high-speed probe. So by the time we get the mission to Mars, the probe that we send will take half as long to get there. So this is what I mean about sequencing being really important. And here we've just had some alien abductions reported, which we need to investigate for our objective to keep the storyline going. So in a moment the turn will tick over and we can send V out to investigate that. We'll do an investigation and drop a surveillance on it, just in case we manage to identify the operative if they happen to still be in the area. And then everyone else can keep doing what they're doing. We're getting close to the cutoff where we're first able to do our first mergers in the European Union. How are we doing on build out? Belgium has now finished and is now building entirely economy, which we don't want to do. It won't have time to finish the space program. So what we might do is use build army points, so that when I believe what will happen is when Belgium gets eaten, these build army points will merge into France, and we might get closer towards having a second French, soon-to-be European Union army. I think that's the go. V, you redirect from
see what we can find. At your service.
Beating down Kazakh descent. Marily, you keep boosting popularity in Italy, because with the vulnerable servant control points, I think Italy might be a future target. The alternative is to try and punt them out of some of the smaller ones first. Like Denmark, for example, would be good. The Czech Republic would be good. So these could be possibilities, but I think going after Italy, especially with especially once we unify Germany, and that'll destroy our CP consumption. So Italy might be a good next one to go for. I don't want to start a fight with humanity first by trying to punt them out of Spain, but I think grabbing Italy and then starting its mission control construction would be good. Although, to be fair, everyone in Italy at the moment is investing 32% in boost and 32% in mission control. So they're kind of doing the job for me. And indeed, when I looked at the resources tab earlier, the much better looking resource tab, it's not, the AI factions are not doing badly. Like, I'm ahead by research by like less than 10% over on average across most of these. Humanity First is a little bit behind. My cash income is very strong. I'm doing well on influence, but I'm not blowing anyone out of the water. I have the best boost income by far, but the Resistance has a 2 boost income, Servants 1.3. It's really Humanity First that's struggling on the boost, but everyone has their control point caps used up, so everyone's controlling pretty much as many countries as they can. It's just that none of them are controlling the superpowers, which I think is fine by us for the moment. And we've started to see people throw their first stations up. I'm obviously saving my boost, because I would like my boost to be used for lunar colonies. Okay, there we go. The probe has arrived at the moon. Let's see if we have a good moon or a bad moon this playthrough. Interesting. Peary Crater. Peary Crater, I am intrigued. Because the idea is to have at least a little bit of everything coming in. Because a little bit of everything is efficient than having to ship anything. So, wow, okay. So it's a mixed bag. Peary Crater is a good first cut. Because you use most of what you use is water and base metals, at least to start. And Peary Crater, even though the total income at Mare Imbrium might be better, and indeed the total incomes at many of these are better, having a little bit of everything is good enough for me. Tycho Crater is insane with the fissiles income. And you can get a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of nobles income from Mare Tranquillitatis. I think we need Peary, just as our general build-up location. And it might be worth grabbing Tycho. I've got interplanetary rocketry already. What I don't have is the mines. So we can found an outpost at Peary. We'll rename that base in a minute. And then the question is, do we want to grab the nobles, the tiny nobles revenue, or the massive, massive bloody fissiles revenue? This is the kind of thing that makes me think we can go fission. Shackleton would hardlock the rest of the AI factions from water. I actually don't want to do that. If the servants get that, that's a problem, but I'd actually kind of like Resistance or Academy or Humanity First. So we'll roll the dice and hopefully a non-stupid faction gets Shackleton Crater. But let's claim Tycho. It'll cost us 1 month extra boost income to reserve it, so to speak. And then I think we wait for the mining revenue. It does mean that when we go to Mars, we're gonna have to boost our nobles there. But from memory, if you look at the construction costs of things like this, yeah, the differences in values is just massive. You ship a solar module, for example, costs 1 base metal and 0.075 nobles. So I'm happy to shift that stuff. Yeah, the demand just is different, at least at this stage in the tech tree. Material science labs. Okay, so some things... The point is, can we last long enough to get our nobles income from Mars? And I think the answer is yes. Rather than trying to get 3 bases on the moon before we get to Mars. I might reconsider that, but if nothing else, let's see what happens here. Do I need that right now? It's difficult. It would cost me 6.6 to reserve, but how far away from mining? We're 2 months away from mining. It's going to cost us like 40 to lift the... Yeah, no. This is good enough. This is a greedy enough land grab. Don't obsess over the moon. Do not obsess over the moon. Right, let's scout this alien.
Our course is unjustified to them.
Of course it is. Special project available. Strategic lobbying. Great, not now. I have nowhere near enough money to be doing direct investments.
Here's what we've found.
Something strange
Alright, here we are.
Unfortunate appears to be underway, Director.
Although we cannot rule out the possibility of a hoax.
Pursuing more information.
A statistically significant quantity of animals and humans have been reported missing in the area. We've gathered a huge amount of data. Winnowing accurate information from the chaff of exaggerated and sensational stories will take time. Research alien methods when it becomes available. Well, I don't have xenology labs. Allows faction to detect alien contacts with humans. I want that, but... Oh, it's cheap enough that I'm not going to wait for the 20% bonus. What I really want to do, once I get space resource production going, is get some xenology labs which give really hefty bonuses, 10% each. To really cut that research time, get those onto Tiangong. But we need to finish what we're doing first. Well, that happened. Protectorate and Protectorate. Okay. Checks out. I see no trouble here.
Even
Bingo.
dirt.
Space mining and refining. Oh, and
One
resistance.
might as well build a house upon a pile of rice. Director Khalid Alashka, from his irregular newsletter, preparing for tomorrow.
Alashka is in fact correct. We can't just send up a bunch of diggers and hope for the best. We can't just rip a bunch of people off, an oil rig and say, hey, go to the moon and mine stuff. We need to develop the technology, and that's what space mining and refining is meant to allow us to do. And the Resistance, thankfully, has gone nuclear fission in space for the slot next, which is fantastic, because in order to make Mars work, we need 3 things. We need mission to Mars, we need space mining and refining, and we need nuclear fission in space, because solar power doesn't work so good on Mars, especially once you start getting into the mining game. So that is really helpful for us. At Astra, I'm not thrilled. I'm trying to take over this research slot, in fact, just because I could probably dial that back, actually, in order to get mission to Mars done sooner. Just because we need to get the probe going. So I might do that. Bring us back a month on the mission to Mars. We still might be constrained on boost because of the moon, but we're doing what we're doing. High thrust probes will be ready. Institutional outreach is going to take a little longer. This will give us more orgs. High thrust probes is then going to become either a xenology research, or we got a backlog of engineering to do. I just wanted to get these missions pushed along as fast as possible. We're also, well, you'll see in just a moment. Okay, we got the first lunar base founded. We'll rename them a bit. Prompted by mission control to say something, the spacesuited commander turns to the camera, her face obscured by a golden visor. This time, we are here to stay. HAB modules are completed, but there is nothing to do with these HAB modules until we research the mining facility. So we're waiting for those, waiting for the mining technology to pop, and then it's going to become our absolute first priority. Nothing will be more important than getting those mines completed. And now we have consolidated the executive in France, which means we can take our first step towards European unification, hopefully.
I think we had a breakthrough.
That should be... I'll investigate Isolde in a bit, just to see if she's now up to 25 loyalty. If so, we can move on to someone else. The hype train process at the start of the game of just convincing everyone that you're really awesome by having people sit in a room and tell people corporate motivational speeches. It takes a lot of turns, but I think it's worth the investment. So we'll propose unification with Belgium, Luxembourg. Bingo. Unified, and lo and behold, we now have alien abductions, and I have no ops income still, but we have a France combined with Belgium and Luxembourg. Next up will be the Netherlands as soon as they finish their mission control, which should not take long. We're looking at maybe 3 months until they complete. We'll need to go grab Poland's executive now, so that starts its consolidation process. And also so we can speed up mission control. We'll be able to consolidate that into the European Union. And then we'll also need to grab Germany's executive. That's going to be the big one. It's going to take longer for Germany to reach, but consolidating Germany to the European Union will be a huge saving in terms of CP and allow us to start getting back into the expansion game properly. As it is, the savings we just made should allow us to grab Poland's executive, and I might stretch a little bit to grab Germany's as well. And there is our outpost mining complex. That's what we wanted. Worry about the rest of the research in a moment. Let's go over to the moon. So the costing, outpost mining complex. The first one is going to cost us 40 boost. So we're going to need 40 boost. That gives us 5 power. The soul collector gives us 10 power. So we're going to need about 45 boost. We're at 20, making 6 a month. So we will get there in maybe 4 months. So we're sort of outpacing, our research is outpacing our boost accumulation. But we will do what we can. And any other orgs that we can pick up to speed that up, we will. I'm avoiding a trap, which is these mining. So these mining boost organizations, they're really cheap in terms of money. They give you a mining bonus that looks really great. Problem is they cost so much boost to buy that you slow down getting your first mines if you try and get the mining bonus. And I'd rather just get the mines happening sooner. And so to that end, we're going to be ignoring them for the moment. Ooh, Special Air Service. Extract, detain, assault, alien asset. Income, 3 ops. Who do we have? Oh, do we need a faction must have someone from the UK or a control point in the UK. Damn it. The Italians would also be an option, but we don't have a control point in Italy either. So we're really struggling. Now, and I'll go through the research to see if we have, the recruitment pool to see if we have any alternatives, but I don't think at the moment we do. So we're really, really constrained on ops income, like hilariously constrained on ops income. We can make do, but until like a security organization from France or Germany or one of the European countries we actually have pops up, like it'd be great if Grom could pop up from Poland or something like that, but you know what, it's just life. I'll get my research sorted, we'll consolidate Poland and Germany and move on. Alright, I've sent a probe to Mars. I'm also taking my first roles at taking over the executive in Finland, kicking the servants and protectorate out just as a small target of opportunity, because we'll also be merging the Netherlands in this term, which will hopefully bring us back under the control point cap. The probe to Mars did cost us some boost, which is fine.
I couldn't get through to them.
Securing our interests.
I maybe need to start feeding Toby a little bit of influence every turn for his inspires, because that man is cursed when it comes to inspiration. That is not good, because I now have no research I'm leading. I can try and take over Mission of the Asteroids or Ad Astra. I'll try and take over Ad Astra. I was trying to, at the moment, the AI factions are doing relatively well at research, and as a result, taking over more than one slot at a time is proving difficult. But there we are. Alright, let's merge in the Netherlands to the European Union and see if we can take over Finland. Unification Netherlands done, back under the CP cap. And this is still France, it's not yet the European Union. I'm not sure when we'll hit the breakpoint for switching over. But apparently not yet.
The opposition remains in power.
That's okay, we'll roll that again. Okay, nuclear fission in space is done. Resistance has gone straight to solid core fission, which I do not mind. We'll be able to make use of that. I'm trying to take Mission Asteroids and Ad Astra. We'll be hitting institutional outreach soon, which will finally give us more orgs to buy, because we're stacking the money up, but they're just not popping. Alien methods also in the pipe. We are back under CP cap, even with Finland. So we can probably afford additional expansion. I don't want to grab Germany's executive, because it's just going to take... I'd be holding it for a long time before I could merge it, assuming our goal is to fill it up with mission control first, because that we'd need about 10 months and we can consolidate the executive in 3 or 4. Although there might be a case to be made for just doing it and then worrying about expansion into these other countries. I just don't want to start a fight with the resistance and humanity first over Spain or Italy, so we might do a smaller project. I might try and crack Protectorate Denmark, Protectorate Sweden. May as well just have a fight just with the Protectorate. Try and start merging in this sort of Operation NATO Lake, basically. The war in Ukraine is still going on, by the way. And the Russians can't coordinate very well because their different armies are under the control of different units. So the Academy's army is hanging around in Russian territory, not invading Ukraine, and I think the servant armies are in Ukraine, attempting to invade Ukraine, and that's just not peak military strategy, apparently. So yeah, there we go. We're at 24 boost. I got some more orgs that increase boost income, and finally an org that increases ops. So we're going to have a little bit of ops income, nowhere near enough, but a little bit, which I can work with. So anyway, we'll work on Denmark. We'll consider grabbing the German executive. So we might go Denmark, Sweden, consolidate Finland when we can. The timer on Poland is 139 days, by which point we should have finished the mission control too. So this will be what frees up. I think the better timeline might be to go Sweden, Denmark now. Poland consolidates and we grab the German executive. I think that might be our consolidation order. Here is Alien Methods.
Director, our hopes of peaceful first contact with our visitor dwindle with every report.
The earliest disappearances were low-order mammals, unremarkable. Animal disappearances ceased, human disappearances began. Disproportionate fraction of individuals with high socioeconomic status. Mood among the research team is bleak. Our hopes of coexistence and information exchange are to be dashed. The aliens are unconcerned with our welfare and may be actively hostile. The number of abductees have returned. Some of the researchers have expressed hope this indicates the abductions were a hoax. However, given the situation, we do not feel we can afford to be so optimistic. Our councillors investigate more closely, perform surveil location missions on areas with suspected alien presence, send councillors to investigate alien activity missions. This is, I think, where we have to actually detect the Hydra themselves. Wonderful. And I should just continue grabbing the labs that we will eventually need, because I don't think we are in a particular hurry for anything else. Energy, engineering. This is all good. We're still just boost constrained. This is what happens. We took the delay getting into Kazakhstan, robbed us of about a year at 2 income. So if we'd done it perfectly and gotten Kazakhstan first and broken it off Eurasia, maybe we would be at the moon mining by now. And if I wasn't so greedy, we'd be there a little bit earlier. But I'm okay with this. 6, 12, 18, 3 months. We should have our first mine on the way. Okay, this is an interesting one. Concerned citizens in the United Kingdom are willing to directly aid our cause. Even though the United Kingdom is not aligned with it, their citizens have continued to agitate for more to be done in our interests. We could definitely put them to good use. What this allows me to do is either get a small permanent money boost, or roll the dice and see if I get a random control point. If we get the legislature, so 1 in 3 chance, there's a decent odds of eventually going for the executive. This would break us in, and I don't think this event causes us to go to war with the resistance. So if our ambition is to bring the United Kingdom back into the European Union, which I think would be worth it, it would bring an extra military and more nuclear barrages, this might be a good chance to roll the dice and do it. I'll take it. So what we want to do then is basically go mission control. I don't think that annoys the resistance. It means that at some point we're going to want to pull the trigger on this, because it's going to take longer to merge the UK back in. Because in order to do that, what we're going to need to do is first rejoin the EU and then unify, which is a process of many years. But then again, filling the United Kingdom up with 16 mission control is also the product of years. So, I mean, I guess I'll take it. Nice. Glad I didn't start operations in Denmark, or I was just about to start taking on Denmark. Good thing I didn't do that yet. Might still be able to afford it. It might be better to go for the German executive. 100 days from Polish unification. Okay, I've just done a changeover in the council. V, the name will come back, but V has been turfed at 60 years old and not particularly great stats, in exchange for an astronaut, which I thought was more thematic for Exodus, who brings more admin science, about the same amount of command, much better stats across the board, plus 15% to energy research and government. What the astronaut lacks compared to the operative is a lot of the missions. So what we're really gambling here is that government trait's going to allow us to attach organizations which get us that functionality back. But in exchange, we've gotten much better science draw and a much younger councillor. So it was at least a year or 2 worth of XP leveling in the stats that I care about, plus some science to boot. So I think that's a worthwhile changeover. It only cost me about 60 influence total to do the reassignments and the recruitment. So welcome to Terra Invicta, patron nominee Elaine Kinsella. Plus now we have an astronaut, which makes sense for Exodus, I think. Solar Flare is going to cut mission control for 20% for 3 months, but I don't care because I have the capacity. I'm also considering sending public affairs over to the UK to start building up popularity, because if we do have aspirations to merge the UK back, cracking this executive point, even with the bonus for the legislature, is going to be very difficult unless the public and the United Kingdom support us. So, and then I'm happy at that point. If we take those 2 CP, I'm pretty happy to sit for a long time during the long consolidation process, let resistance run the trade unions and the mass media, while we run, the government. We undo Brexit while they complain about it, presumably. But anyway, I think that's the go.
We must
Bingo.
learn about the aliens and their
Abductees.
technologies via means other than diplomacy.
The hoax theory has now been abandoned by all but a handful of stubborn holdouts. Our investigators have confirmed that several of the returned abductees are engaged in espionage against local government. Unfortunately, the most likely explanation is the aliens are somehow exercising influence over the abductees and using them to gather information. It seems we must retask some of our research and intelligence capabilities towards discovering the aliens' plans. We can no longer avoid making a focused effort towards analysing the aliens' goals. research alien operations. I will. I would like some xenology bonus first, though. Energy lab complete. Let's go fission pile, because we'll need those for Mars. You don't want to be researching too many techs in the same category at once, because doing so does have a negative research multiplier. What I'm hoping for is with enough fission research, we'll get nuclear freighters, which will reduce boost cost. We're getting very close to having enough boost to send our first mine to the moon, which will be a huge breakpoint. So that'll get there this year, I imagine. Fission pile, interplanetary warships in the pipeline. So Marilee here is worth about 3.5 boost per month. So she's doing a really good job. We have 41.5 available to us. A mine costs 41.7, and then we need another 4.9 to launch the solar collector. So this month we should get our first mines on the way to the moon, which is a big win. A bit later than I'd want, March 2024, but hey, we're definitely beating reality. In terms of sites, just about everything else is claimed. Shackleton thankfully got claimed by the Resistance, which is great. The only negative is that Mare Tranquillitatis with its nobles income got claimed by the servants, but you know, it is what it is. I don't see any reason to go after these two because there are slots on Mars to compete for, and we've got mines to get down here, so all good for the moment. I've been running public opinion in the UK. We don't have an amazing crackdown councillor, but if we have enough public support, we should be able to make it work. We're at 53% and rising. Once it gets to about 70%, I'll see what my odds are with a full send crackdown, and then hopefully a full send purge on the executive. With Poland merging in 57 days, we will have the CP cap to grab the executive in the UK, and then hopefully soon after the executive in Germany as well, since Germany is coming along nicely in terms of MC fill out. The aliens are expanding. The servants are expanding. They now control the executive in India. Humanity First really need you to get on this, because this is a problem. Like, seriously, might want to fix that, guys. As for us, 64% public opinion in favour of the UK and building. 44.9 boost, so it's time to go to the moon. Okay, so we want to make sure we build at the correct site. We want to build at Peary Crater. Outpost mining complex. It'll be 65 days to get the mine, and it'll be 35 days to get the solar collector. So as soon as the boost ticks over, the solar collector should still arrive before the mine does. So we'll just stay here for a moment. 4.3. Nope, we're going to roll another turn. Anyway, we'll get the solar collector launched up to the moon, and then hopefully we'll snowball from there. Here's an example of what I'm talking about for our astronaut. We can add GIGN, which will give us more ops income and start adding additional missions. So now he can assault alien asset, which is one of the big ones you have command as people for, and he can detain. So that's a good boost. He doesn't have enough admin to add anything more for the moment. That's fine. Although actually he can fit this generic command booster, so we might do that. Although we might need it on our, because we really don't have any good espionage offerings at the moment. And the idea is to use the journalist for investigation and the judge for shenanigans. So maybe we put that on the judge. Espionage 4 is very, very weak, but it might do for the moment, because taking out a cracked down spot in a country that you have massive popular support in is not the most difficult mission ever. We can do without all the rest of that for the moment. So yes, the UK is within striking distance. Poland is 26 days from consolidation, but we will defend interest there anyway.
Ready.
And I might start rolling the dice on the UK executive. And here you see what I mean. Shira Calpurnia here has an espionage of 4, but with 70% public support in the UK for a plus 13, for plus 0.5 for control in larger allies federation, 4 for neighbours, 3 for the legislature. She has a 97% chance to grab the executive. Now, we'll need to smooth things over with the resistance for doing this, but frankly, I think it's worth it. Poland will be with us for one more turn. Looks like they have finished their mission control allotment right on time. So we'll add some army points with their final month or so, and then we'll merge them into France, freeing up the CP cap because we will go over once we take this UK control point, and then we'll basically sit on the UK, work it back into the undo Brexit, and then eventually unify it in. Before we unify it in, we might want to take at least one more of these CP, but I don't want to piss the resistance off more than we have to. And then, of course, the executive control point in Germany is also on the list, as they are now halfway through, roughly, their mission control build. In the meantime, alien operations. Unhelpfully, domestic law enforcement tends to close investigations once abductees return, and thus it has fallen to our local operatives to follow up on the many rumours of erratic and aberrant behaviour. Concerningly, the interviews and investigations strongly corroborate reports. True purpose of the abductions may be more than research. You think? Man, so many of these organisations are just like, man, they might actually be up to something bad. I'm like, that seems like something that you should start with this presumption and investigate with urgency. But anyway, we do have some new understanding of alien activities and how humans may resist them. Allows detection of alien operations. We will update our intelligence estimate with how the aliens regard our faction. Updated codex with new information.
They have come from the stars to exert control over human behavior, Director. Humanity is in crisis.
Yes, it is. Our research has demonstrated strong evidence it's caused by that the aberrant behavior is caused by alien abductions. Public attitudes are rapidly shifting in a pro-alien direction, driven by key figures in the media, political, and scientific establishments. Are you suggesting that that sort of coordinated information campaign could convince people of something that was really dangerous? So the resistance is making us pay by removing Croatia, Slovenia, interesting nation, Croatia, Slovenia from the European Union. That means we might need a military solution rather than taking the time to merge them back in. And servant India has declared war on Vietnam. Now, I'm not sure how your geography is, but India is here and Vietnam is here. And India, while it has several armies, only has one army with a navy, which is required to get to Vietnam. So this is the dumbest invasion in the history of invasions of this game, because I don't think that one 3.4 tech division is going to be enough to beat the province defense, the self-defense capability of... I don't think 3.8 one division beats home defense, especially since Hanoi is rugged terrain. I don't think that's going to work. But hey, we'll see. I think that's going to bog the servants down, but we will see. Especially since you can't use nukes to counter province defense, only mobile divisions. So I'm really not sure what the plan is here, Judith, but you know, you do you. And alright, we have executive control in the United Kingdom.
Standing by for orders.
What we'll need to do is defend interest that just for good measure. And then the cooldown, it's 177 days to cool down the executive. And then once we've consolidated, I think we can go straight back into the EU. So I think it's 177 days to go back into the EU. Meanwhile, we'll also set national priority Poland.
Heading to the capital.
And that should be that. I did that wrong. I was dumb because I wasn't thinking. You don't set policy in Poland, you set policy in France to do the unification. So I wasted a turn there.
Information is our greatest weapon, bar none. If we know enough about what we're fighting and where, we can win wars before even a single shot has been fired.
Firing
Commander
a shot.
Fiona Ayawade, data in the shadow of war.
Okay. You may have to fire a shot. The information just might tell you where to fire that shot, but you know what? Great principle. So we have augmented reality, initiative, won it, they're taking us into a rival economics. I like how much more contested the research slots are because I'm struggling to hold more than one. Although we will get solid core fission soon, which will be a help. I'm also working space tugs. Between the two of these, we're on the way for getting out to Mars and further locations like Jupiter much better, much more easily. How long until we finish this mine? I thought it was soon, and it is in fact like 4 days. Which should, if we are lucky, rapidly resolve the mining challenge elsewhere. Because we can then use those resources. There we are. Take me there. Wonderful. So now we're running positive on water, we're running positive on volatiles, and we're running positive on base metals. I don't think we need to rush into doing the fizzles because we're just not going to need to transport them. It might legitimately be a better idea to save the boost and use that to get out to Mars instead for some more generalist sites and then fill in Tycho later on. It would have been claimed, so I'm glad we took it because 30 fizzles is sweet and opens up all kinds of drive options that would normally be off limits. And I have no clue how the drives have been rebalanced, but I'm sure fission drives still eat a lot of fizzles, so good start. This time we will use set policy on the correct country.
Time to make our move.
Because I'm good at this game.
Where do you need me?
And we're back in a minute.
the
I think the other thing we can do is we might have to look at space stations. Once we get a couple of resources going on, slapping one or two, just a few resources would make putting up a pair of xenology labs and a pair of solar collectors in orbit to get a little bit of research bonus going. I'd like to get at least 6 xenology labs happening quickly. That'll give a +6 out of a maximum +9 search bonus to aliens on Earth and a huge bonus to our xenotech, which are otherwise very research intensive techs. In any case,
Standing by.
let's try and merge Poland properly this time, and I'll be back in a second. Good old Hans Castillo, 1 cash for a non-aggression pact. Love it.
I believe they'll stay loyal to the cause.
Wonderful. That should bring Isolde to near 25 loyalty. I'll investigate her soon. I investigated Marilee, and she's like loyalty like 9, 10. So long way to go boosting her up, but slowly we will grind our way up to a 25 loyalty group.
Mission complete.
Unification, Poland complete. There we are. And finally, that is enough. Apparently Poland's inclusion is enough to tick it over. It is no longer France++. This is now the European Union state, which I guess makes a degree of sense. The army build points are folded into the point where it only will take 13 more points to tick us over and get a second EU army. And of course, merging in the United Kingdom will eventually give us a third. So 3 armies with navies, hopefully. Sort of thing that starts to be useful. It's not used doing any military tech up until we know it's not going to be dropped back down by merging other countries, because you average out mil tech as you merge unless they've changed that. So, excellent. Okay, that frees up a bunch of supply cap, and I think the way we use that is we grab Germany's executive, because that's the next big part of the European project, merging in Germany. Then we can worry about the rest. Fortunately, all these places that are under other people's control, a lot of them are filling out the mission control anyway. Like Austria's filling out, Italy, Spain more slowly, but the Czechs 50%, Slovakia's at maximum, Denmark's building towards maximum, Sweden's at 2/3, so Finland's now full, so that's good. What have we got? 1 day until merger. We can unify Finland. Excellent. We can unify Finland. It's all coming together.
Let us hope, nevertheless, that we would have made them proud.
Solid core
Chancellor Li
fission.
Qingdao.
Really, if I'm correct, solid core fission was important. Not just for our early combat drive. Let's go solid core fission reactor, solid core fission systems. We don't want fission pulse drive. We want this one, nuclear freighters. 65% chance of unlocking. Accelerate delivery of HABs to 10%, reduces the boost for sending material to Earth beyond LEO. I'm not thrilled with only 65%, but that just speaks to the weakness of the science lineup in my my faction at the moment. But nuclear freighters is one of the reasons to go solid core fission, as well as to get some functional early drives. But we shall see. What are we going to throw in there next? Because we have a research slot. We're fighting for 2. Cybernetics is useful for boosting up our councillors. Let me think about this for a moment. I think the answer is settlement HABs. I think the answer is T2 settlements. So we'll dial that one back. Maybe set that on priority 2 like that. But tier 2 bases are just so much more powerful than tier 1s, and it's the economy stupid. Or specifically, the space economy stupid. So settlement HABs it is. Toby renamed can grab space tech for a massive 1.6k. but that gives him 3 science points, 3% energy research, 28 science output, and 1.25 boost, bringing us up to 14 boost per month. That's much more healthy for someone who's planning to move into Mars orbit relatively soon. Mars probe arrives 23rd June. The Space Tugs arrives 30 June. Let's bring that back to 26 June. So the bonus for delivery speed arrives 3 days after the probe. It's not perfect, but that's pretty damn close as far as syncing things up go. I'm going to talk to another faction, get more non-aggression packs. We'll merge Finland, and I reckon
Standing by.
we'll take Isolde off
Establishing control.
motivation duty just for
Ready
long
for
enough.
orders.
Just long enough for her to stabilize
We'll
the UK.
make things.
Just long enough for her to take the executive in
What's the
Germany,
op?
so we can finish our consolidation there. But lovely. The borders are going to be much cleaner once Germany joins as well, and then hopefully the UK. Finland's going to look a bit weird in the EU without Sweden and Denmark, but that can be solved in good time. We'll cut a deal with Soren for some technology, a non-aggression pact, improved relations. We're giving away one of the orgs we're not using in exchange for a +2 investigation, +2 covert org. Not the best thing he had, but he's willing to give it up. And right now, one of the weaknesses in my lineup is investigation and espionage. And there's our probe for Mars, which means we must be getting towards the end of this episode. 25 sites. Woo! Okay, immediately I can see some have got every resource, and that's always nifty. For example, Arcadia Planitia would be a fantastic, I'll look at the others, but straight off the board, that'd get us a little bit of noble income, fissiles without having to build on the moon first, lots of fissiles, while also having functional incomes of everything else. There's 2 good noble sites, including one that also comes with a lot of base metal. In fact, they both do. There's some good sites on Mars. Yeah, a lot of this is workable. There's some very high water sites too. But I think instantly, it's 10.6 boost to claim a location. I've 24 saved. I am researching nuclear freighters now, which will reduce the cost, but let's claim... There's no way to reduce the boost cost of claiming a location with resources. It just costs what it costs. That would be really nice. It's that or coming down here for Tharsis Montez. I probably want both of these. I want a Nobles site that has a lot of collateral extra bonuses, and I want this water and volatiles because we'll chew through that. And most importantly, that location means I don't need to set up on the moon. So let's claim Arcadia. That's 323 days. So we're gonna, hopefully, this finishes in a few days, 2, and then we can send our bases. Okay, I'm back after the probes, and yep, 293. So waiting was absolutely worth it because it saved us about a month. Let's found an outpost, Arcadia Planitia. What would it cost to build a mine here? At the moment, 125 boost, but in a month, that's going to go way down because most of that mass that we're moving is the 18 standard metals. That's not bad. Which makes me think that what we'll also do is claim Tharsis Montez as our nobles mining site. That's the 2 I really wanted to claim. Now we'll let it roll for a month to let the base metal come in, and then we'll send a mine. We'll still have to spend boost in order to send a little bit of volatiles and to send the nobles, but the vast majority of that shipment, like 90% of that shipment, is the base metals, which in about a month we will have in storage. Okay, this is workable, this is great, and we're at like 10 mission control out of 48, so we will expand further, but I want to get those mines happening. And with 14 boost a month, we're finally rocketing along. Let's merge in Finland, shall we? Unification, Finland, confirm. Economy expands in the European Union. That'll increase the cost of maintaining the thing, I imagine.
The LZ is secure.
We can handle it. Oh, good roll in getting rid of some alien fauna down in Africa. Special project available, augmented learning. Don't need it
taking
just
over.
yet. Germany is controlled within the control point cap. Life is good. And I think that's probably where we're going to call it. We've got broken into the United Kingdom, consolidated the executive in 132 days, they're joining the Union. Finland, Poland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg have all merged into the EU. We'll defend interests there now. EU is at 29 out of 36 MC, so we're going to be able to swap it over to other priorities in not that long, because it's rocking 20 investment points and it only needs to build another, 7 mission control and is most of the way there. Germany's going to take a little bit longer to fill out, but at least now it's on the way. It's going to build just under 1 mission control a month. It needs to build 10. So within the year, we should have Germany consolidated into the EU. And we can move on to some of these smaller countries. In terms of the rest of the world, India is doing its stupid war in Vietnam. See how that goes. China is not under anyone's control. The Academy has held on to Russia just. The US is still just doing US things. It's an insurgency, GDP is dropping, fragmentation is maximum, so they are as polarized as possible to be, inequality is high, and GDP is down. So, yeah, that's America and our game. Great. We have somehow held on to the Gulf states without defending it and have continued to loot it, which is fantastic. The Resistance has gone and taken over Australia, I presume because their CP cap has been freed up, and Japan. So the Resistance has made a base in Australia and Japan to make up for losing 2 of their UK spots. And I think that covers most of where everyone is at. In terms of resources, we are now ahead in the research game by more, but Academy, Protectorate, like 800 and 900 against our 1.2k, it's not a slaughter. Where we are really leading is boost. I think we have as much boost as the 3 or 4 next powers combined, which means we're going to get into space first, but they are going to make it. As far as money goes, everyone's running a budget surplus, which is very healthy for them. I'm not seeing any really weak incomes anywhere. There are some negative resource incomes, which I think is going to hurt people's boost because they have small stations, but not like lethal amounts. And as people get presence on the moon, hopefully that will solve their problems. But yeah, no, I think we're in a good position. We're not really at war with anyone because we've been smoothing things over. And I think that's that. What we'll be doing next episode is transitioning to focus on the space economy. It'll be the colonization of Mars. It'll be hopefully the integration of Germany and the United Kingdom and the continued blobbing of the European Union. And our first real story missions as we have to identify and then probably, I assume, go after Hydra agents, which we are researching now. I am getting Tiangong Station upgraded with its first 2 xenology labs, but we'll need some other stations as well just to get those orbital bonuses happening. It's really, really important to get that space economy going. And things like nuclear freighters will help a little bit with that, as will settlement habs and the ability to go to tier 2. Hope you're enjoying. I think we're running well so far. Slightly behind where I would like to be, but still a reasonable pace of consolidation, research, and space colonization. Hope you're enjoying. And finally, I am tracking the house rules. I'm going to put them all into a spreadsheet, and the first ones will probably be integrated next episode, as well as a few more renamed councils. So there you are. Hope you're looking forward to that, and I'll see you next episode.